Today's the episode all Nuneaton fans have dreamt of. It's an Aston Villa double header. Look, it's our only local derby. We have to make a big deal about it. They're the nearest team to Nuneaton. Are they? I think they're the nearest team to Nuneaton in the Premier League. I need to look at a map. Where's Norwich? Hello and welcome to part 146 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode we do have an Aston Villa double header. We're at home against them in the Premier League and then away against them in the FA Cup, which I think is it the fifth round? I think it's the fifth round of the FA Cup. Since you were last with me, things have been going really rather well. This is the season to top all seasons. It's already guaranteed to be the best season in the history of this football club, and it could still get better yet. So we've had a couple of non-green results in the Premier League, but to be fair, one of them was against Manchester City. Leicester away I was a little bit disappointed with, but we thumped Bournemouth, we thumped Middlesbrough, and we also knocked Brighton out of the FA Cup, so we are on a bit of a cup run as well. And this is how the Premier League looks. We are 26 games in, I think. Yeah, 26 games in. We're sat in 7th place. Oh, that answers the question from before. That's where Norwich are, directly above us. We're on 43 points. Already hit the 40-point mark with 12 games to spare. But we are no longer looking down. We're not in a relegation battle. We're looking up. And we're thinking, right, 12 games left. Could we? Because we are potentially already sat in a Europa League spot. Obviously, we're guaranteed Europa League if we can get as high as 5th, but we're only 4 points behind Arsenal, who are in 4th place, and Aston Villa are one of the teams above them. Now, a win against Villa today puts us in the Champions League mix, which I know is a ridiculous concept. We would be over the moon with Europa League and an FA Cup semi-final. But just imagine if we got into the Champions League and won the FA Cup. I forget Sir Tom Elliott, it would be Sir Kevin Chapman. Right, let's get into the first of the two Villa games. This is where it all goes wrong now. We've done the big build-up, now it all goes wrong. So we have got a couple of injury problems. Ivan Vujicic is going to be out for a couple of months. He has broken his hand. Hands are important for goalkeepers, and he no longer has one. He also got a little bit of a grump on in the transfer window because he wanted to go to Chelsea, and we did that whole back and forth conversation thing where I say, I don't want you to go. He says, well, I want to go. And I say, okay, but only if we agree to a certain fee. He came back and said 11 million quid. We paid £27 million for this man 18 months ago, and his value, as far as I'm concerned, has only increased in that time. I told him he wasn't leaving for anything less than 30 million quid. He said 16 million or I get a grump on, so I let him get a grump on. So even if he hadn't have faked his broken hand, I think Oliveira comes into the team at this point anyway. He's younger, he's got better potential, and his ability is roughly equivalent to Vujicic's anyway. This is his full league debut though, although he has played in all of our cup games this season and did come off the bench in the last game when Vujicic got injured. John Robinson is also still injured at left back, and he's been joined by Joksimovic. The amount of times those two seem to be injured at the same time is a bit silly, but we now have no left backs. And also Kieran Kerr has picked up a knock as well. He's going to be out for a month or so with a twisted ankle. So injuries are starting to pile up, and it's starting to become clear just how small our squad is, as we have everybody who's available in our matchday squad. Apart, you could argue if we got really desperate, Robinson could sit on the bench with his injury, but everyone not in the matchday squad is either injured, unregistered, or we've not even got any suspensions. It's just injured and unregistered. Oh, if you're wondering who Paul Blake is, I'm wondering that too. My assistant manager, my director of football, brought him in from Blackburn on deadline day. And I thought, oh, well, you did all right with Kieran Kerr, director of football. You're not scouted. I'll let you have this one, though. Brought him in, and it was just like having a sack of turds left on my doorstep. So I immediately sent him out on loan to Burnley, which I imagine that will have really pleased the Blackburn fans. Bring him in. He's a Premier League regular for them. Bring him in, loan him out to Burnley in the Championship to help them out. But I wasn't having that sack of turds ruining my Premier League squad, so he just went straight out again the day he arrived. And that'll be probably the last time you ever hear him mentioned, other than when I tell you I've sold him or released him for a free. Don't always trust your director of football, kids. So this is our team for today's game. We've got Oliveira in goal, a back four of Carrascal at left back, Brodic and Taggart as our centre-back partnership, and Coupler at right-back. Coupler won Premier League Player of the Month in his first month in the Premier League. Bearing in mind, this lad has still only played 16 league games in his career, only 7 of them in England, and is the best player in the Premier League in January, which I think that's quite a good way to introduce yourself to a new team in a new country. Imagine how good he's going to be when he can speak English. A midfield of Fazio, Wanda and Hayes, with Nuhu in behind Nogueira and Jensen. The thin squad is emphasised again when we look at the options we've got on the bench. Mitch Dos Santos isn't available because we had to unregister him from the squad to let Coupler in. We were going to loan Taggart out to get Dos Santos back in the squad. The loan was agreed for Taggart, and then I realised that Taggart's English, Dos Santos isn't. Letting Taggart go wouldn't let Dos Santos into the squad, so in the end we cancelled the loan. And Tommy Taggart starts today because why not? Even though he was about to go out on loan to a championship team, we cancelled the loan. He's back in the team. All is forgiven, Tommy. You are still on the loan list, though. We probably need to take you off there at some point. But as a first option, as our only option as a substitute striker is Lazic. We are getting a bit desperate. Maybe 1 or 2 more injuries, and it does start to become a bit of a crisis. And that's at a club that doesn't have a lot. We've only got like 3 players injured at the moment, but our squad is so small because we're operating on much smaller budgets than everybody else that, we could have problems if we pick up any more injuries. Nuhu then, no. Nothing from Nuhu. As it stands right now, look, we've moved up to 5th place in the league. That's marvellous. Imagine what would happen if we win this game. Wanda to Hayes. Go on, stick it in the top corner. It goes well over. Considering we're supposed to be adding another 8,000 seats to this stadium, I'm not seeing any work being done on this ground. Do you see the work being done in matches? Because I've obviously never had a ground expanded mid-season before, not in any significant way anyway. When we were down in non-league, we had it converted to seating, which I guess we didn't see that happening either. But I'm assuming they're filling in the corners because they're adding 8,000 seats over 18 months without reducing the capacity of the stadium at any point. So I can only assume they're filling in the corners, because if they were sticking another tier on top of one of the stands, they'd have to close that stand while they were doing it. So we must be filling in the corners. But 6 months after we supposedly started work on that, the corners haven't been filled at all. There's still a scoreboard in each one of them. So, apart from that one over there, perhaps they've taken that scoreboard away. But it'd be nice for them to get a wriggle on and do some work, because we were filling a 26 or 24,000 capacity Brian Clough Arena in Nottingham. We filled that for our first 2 years in the Premier League. Week in, week out, that was full. The fact that we're now playing in a 16,000 capacity stadium is hamstringing us a little bit when it comes to competing financially, adding to this squad in the summer. For the first time since we've been in the Premier League, we're not going to end this season with a big pile of cash. Our projection says we'll end the season with about £1 million in the bank. So we're now probably overspending on our wage budget compared to the money that we're bringing in. So on that basis, we might not get much money to spend this summer, unless, of course, we qualify for the Champions League, because there's all the money that comes from there. But that's a big if, considering we're currently 1-0 down against Villa. Nogueira plays it through to Jensen, and that is a good save. Remember, the Villa keeper back is another real top quality keeper like Vujicic and like Oliveira, who was the guy we actually tried to sign before Vujicic came in, but we couldn't get Villa to agree terms. And also remember about Villa, they got promoted to the Premier League after we did. They came up the season after us. We've just won a penalty, I think. We have. They came up the season after us and are currently 2nd in the league. So it is possible for us to be up there competing with them for a Champions League spot. And Nuhu has scored from the penalty to grab us an equaliser. Already his 12th goal of the season. He was our top scorer last year with 12 goals in the whole of last season. Bearing in mind this year, he's not even started every game because he's got competition for places from Wagner and McAllister that he didn't have last year. He's now already hit his last season's target, or his last season's total, by February. That was a great save from Oliveira. That was ridiculous. Which just shows you how much better he's playing than he was last year. He's not close to our top scorer. Jensen's miles ahead of him. But it just shows the team as a whole are playing better. There's more goals from everybody. And Nuhu's having an even better season than he did last season, which is awesome. Nogueira, now all the way across to Coupler, plays it forward to Hayes. He's got Jensen ahead of him, who squares it to Nuhu. That was brilliant from Jensen and Nuhu. You would have hoped for a little bit better from him there. But you know, I'm not gonna complain too much. We're being competitive against the team's 2nd place in the league, which is, I mean, that's no bad thing, is it? Oliveira's looking the wrong way there. big kick forward from Oliveira towards Nogueira, who can't get there, but our midfield just get a hold of it, knock it around amongst them and look for an opening the way they always do. Our midfield is awesome, and Jensen was close to being in. I think Kieran Kerr probably would have scored there because he's that bit quicker than Jensen. Jensen isn't particularly comfortable playing as the advanced forward, but then neither is Nogueira, and we've kind of got our two complete forwards on the pitch today. I suppose we could play both of them as a complete forward, but that troubles me doing that. Nogueira's in though, and straight at their keeper. That's our fourth clear-cut chance of the game, and it's starting to feel like it's another one of those days where we get an awful lot of chances and play very, very well, but don't actually capitalise it. If we look at those stats from the first half, we're ahead on everything, even fouls, but we're ahead on everything, and apart from the one thing that matters, of course, which is goals. So better pass completion. We're not tackling quite as well as them, but we're heading better. We're having more shots on target, more clear-cut chances. We should be ahead in this game. We need to sort ourselves out and get ahead. Why is Nuhu captain when Owanda's on the pitch? How has that happened? Because Owanda is club captain. I don't understand. Does anyone? I need to check the thing. Nogueira misses again. Right, hold on. Let me just... I don't understand what's just happened. How? Captains. Owanda is our captain. So why is Nuhu captain today? Any ideas? Let me know down in the comments why Nuhu would be Oh, he's not captain. He scored a goal. You moron, Chapman. Goodness me. Learn what the icons mean. Edit that out. Goodness gracious me. Right, we need to grab a winner here. And it's with Cutler. He's got space to run into and players ahead of him. Plays it forward to Jensen. Squares it to Nuhu. To Fazio. The midfield have caught up now, and it's with Hayes. Through to Nuhu again. We're passing it around beautifully. Nogueira's in again. Oh my word. Nogueira, will you please... Actually, forget getting better. Just get off the pitch now, because that's just silly. You've had so many opportunities. I can't be doing with that anymore. I would like to be able to make another change to strikers, but we don't have any others to bring on. But I might take off Nuhu and bring on Wagner. Where's McAllister? Why is he not even in the squad? Is he another one who was injured? I don't remember mentioning him being injured. Oh, he's McAllister's our substitute goalkeeper because we don't have one. I perhaps would have preferred to bring McAllister on rather than Wagner if I'd have noticed that he was in the substitute goalkeeper position. Right, Villa are now down to 10 men. We need to capitalise on this now. We need to grab a winner from somewhere. We do have McAllister sat on the bench with a goalkeeper's shirt on. I'm going to bring Lakga. What are you? Why did we sign you? You really are new Mulan. You're not going to come on and change the game positively. The guy who's going to change the game positively is McAllister. So let's shuffle the midfield around a little bit. Hopefully we've got a goal in us. 10 minutes playing against 10 men with creative players on the pitch. Surely we've got to find a route through to a winner. Although, to be fair, even a draw against this Villa team is a good result. It puts us up to 5th place in the league. Everything is a positive at the moment. We can't be complaining about drawing a game like this, but it's with Hayes to Wagner. McAllister, that's a big chance. We've had 6 clear-cut chances in that game. Villa have mugged us with a draw. But hopefully we can find a way past them in the second of today's Nuneaton versus Villa doubleheaders, because our most realistic game into Europe surely is winning the FA Cup rather than trying to get through the league. So let's go and try and knock them out of the FA Cup. The luxury of being able to draft in a few more players from the under-23s for the FA Cup games. We're not restricted to those stupid 25-man squads, plus some returns from injury. Joksimovic is fit to play 75 minutes, so 75 minutes he shall play. Carrascal will come on for him on the 75-minute mark. Robinson was also fit to play half an hour, but there didn't seem much point in risking him, bearing in mind just how broken he still seems to be. But we have been able to bring Dos Santos back in, so he's going to play at centre-back alongside Brodic, just to try and avoid getting any more injuries to defenders. We can also bring, who else have we brought back in? Gareth Walker can sit on the bench as a real goalkeeper, and Bosko Kovacevic, who's the midfielder we brought in January, the youngster, 5-star potential Serbian, he can sit on the bench as well. So a few more players, which is handy, but it's largely the same team that just drew at home to Villa. Now we go away to Villa and try and beat them so that we can progress in the FA Cup, because I think we'd all quite like an FA Cup win. Wagner's just being rested. There's no room for Wagner on the bench, mainly because I've brought in the extra goalkeeper. Because, you know, 2 keepers, always handy. The extra keeper plus the youngster from Serbia, just to give him an exposure to some game time more than anything. Right, Fazio. Everyone was a little bit out of position there and the move just kind of fell apart. But it's with Rwanda now. Over to Coupler. Cross towards Jensen. Nods it down to Nogueira. And today, Nogueira has decided he will score against Aston Villa. He does it with a minute on the clock. He's obviously learned his lesson from being hauled off the pitch last week. And despite missing probably 4 sitters against him in the league, he has scored at the first time of asking in the FA Cup. Nice little nod down from Jensen as well. And we're 1-0 up with 2 minutes on the clock away at Villa, with a place in, I don't even know is it the quarter-final after the 5th round, or is there a 6th round before the quarter-final? Yeah, but as a posh fan, I tend not to pay too much attention to the latter stages of the FA Cup because we tend not to be in them, so I don't know what comes after the 5th round. Right, Fazio, trying to find Joksimovic. He does. He plays it forward towards Nogueira, but there was a lot of space for him to make up there, and he didn't get there, although he's done some good closing down, which has led to the second goal of the game. Nogueira did not let the Aston Villa defender have any time on the ball, just hassling him into making a mistake, and the ball finds its way into the path of Jensen in the middle. It's quite a lucky deflection here. Turek's the defender we were trying to sign in the summer, but he was completely hassled. Then we get the mistake, and it's off Nogueira again, and Jensen's just there to tuck it away. It's 2-0 with 9 minutes on the clock. If only we could have done this to them in the league. As much as I'm saying it'd be nice to win the FA Cup, I'd much rather have Champions League football. Let's not be fussy, Kev. One or the other. Either is far more than we expected to achieve this season. Let's just keep pushing and trying to win every game we're in and see where we end up at the end of the season. Do this the Leicester method from when they won the Premier League. Never talk about what you might win, even though I've talked about it constantly throughout today's episode. But from now on, I'm not going to talk about what we could win. I'm just going to focus on winning each game that we're in. Cliche bingo. We haven't played cliche bingo for ages, but we are going to take it one game at a time and see where we end up, because it's all overachievement from this point on. Remember, the board just wanted us to fight bravely against relegation again, although we did adjust board expectations to avoid relegation in January. But we've already done that. It's February. We've avoided relegation. We're on 43 points. We're not going down. So we've already met our season's goals. We're already further into the FA Cup than they're expecting us to do. The media expected us to finish bottom of the Premier League as well. Every point, every goal is just further overachievement at this point. So we just need to keep enjoying what we're doing and see where we end up. Oliveira can't make the save this time. He has made a couple of very good saves. Oliveira, I don't think we're missing Vujicic at all. If Chelsea want to come in and if they want to meet our £30 million asking price for Vujicic in the summer, I will happily go with Oliveira as my keeper for next season. But yeah, he didn't quite get there for that one. But let's not fault him for that. He's still a top quality keeper, and obviously used to playing in the cup as well. He's been in both the cup runs that we've been on, have all been about Oliveira. We just need to keep him fit now as well. With Vujicic out for most of the rest of the season, we can't afford any injuries to Oliveira because we don't have another goalkeeper in our Premier League squad. We just went with the 2 this year, despite having 3 for the last 2 seasons. So it could just be that the game's going to deliberately punish me for that. Only registering 2 goalkeepers, eh? We'll see about that. Here's a long-term injury to one of them, and guarantee we're going to have a tour situation. The long-term injury to the other one is coming. Right, Hayes to Coupler to Wanda to Fazio. Look at this, just beautiful. Knocking the ball around in the midfield, waiting for spaces to open up. Fazio has got Joksimovic in space out on the left-hand side there. Wanda finally gets the ball to him, although he's dropped a lot deeper to get there. Fazio, Hayes, how long since a Villa player touched the ball? It's Nuhu. It's 3-1. That was a world-class goal. That was a Champions League quality goal. We kept hold of that ball for so long. I think every player in our team touched the ball, apart maybe from the 2 centre-backs. But everyone from full-backs forward touched the ball in that move without Villa getting anywhere near it. And it ended with a neat little finish from Nuhu, who is having a blinding season again. And that was just spectacular. Remember, this is Aston Villa, 3rd place in the league, pushing for a Champions League spot. We've just done that to them. That was awesome. Let's have another goal like that. I love playing that kind of football. This is why I will always want to play attacking football, because it leads to moments like that. Right, Joksimovic can come off now. Carrascal can come on for the last 20 minutes. And we're also going to take off... We're going to take off Hayes and bring on Latka. And just play him as a roaming playmaker. Why not? Get him some game time. I think that might be his debut. We brought him in from Arsenal in the January transfer window, but he came in with an injury, and there's not really been any reason to bring him into the team yet. But he does offer us something a little bit different in the Mulan mould in the midfield, who's now moved on. Fazio, he can come off for Kovacevic, who, what do you want to be, little fella? We'll let you be the deep line playmaker then. There we go. So a new look midfield three, even with the previous one completely dominating the match. Let's see if the version that involves two youngsters can continue to dominate the match. Not so much. It's Villa with a chance, and another good save from Oliveira, I think. Or was that? Did that go? I think a free kick was given there. I don't know what for, but I think Oliveira made the save. I'm gonna put it down as an Oliveira save, and we're actually mugging Villa here, and it's largely because of how well Oliveira is playing in goal. Villa have now had 4 clear-cut chances to our 2. It's like a reversal of the game in the league where we had 6, they had 2, except this time we've actually capitalised and scored some goals. Jensen couldn't quite get that under control in a good position. Latka to Nuhu to Kovacevic. Latka again. Rwanda. This midfield can do it just like the other midfield. Naguera. Jensen. Back to Kovacevic again. To Rwanda. Out to Cutler. Look at this. This is beautiful. Nuhu nods it down to Naguera, then wins it back. It's Nuhu again. It's 4. And we are playing brilliantly. This little spell of form we're in at the moment. It is the best Nuneaton have played at any point in this save. We don't have a Dan Fisher or a Cedrin Scott who we're relying on to score all the goals. The goals are coming from everywhere, and they're coming as a result of just playing incredibly well. We've built a team around a really high quality midfield, and we're just controlling games. This is awesome. We've just thumped Villa 4-1 away from home. Let's see who we get in the next round of the FA Cup, because if we can carry on playing like this, we could win our next game. Remember what you said, Kev? Goodness me, remember what you just said. Right, let's jump ahead to the FA Cup draw. Here we go then, FA Cup 6th round draw, which looks like a fancy word for quarter-final to me. There's only 4 matches. So who's still in it? Birmingham, Norwich, QPR or Sheffield Wednesday, West Brom, Leeds or Everton, us, Tottenham, West Ham or Blackburn. Now what I'm noticing there is there's no Man United, no Man City, no Chelsea, no Arsenal. Some teams might view this as a winnable competition. So, this is the one that we want to avoid, I guess. Tottenham will play Tottenham away. I mean, it's the hardest game left in the competition. Taking it one game at a time, but theoretically, if we can beat Tottenham away, we should win the FA Cup, looking at the rest of the teams that are left in it. It's like the finals being played 2 games early. Interesting, and we will bring that to you in the next episode. And I guess we'll either do West Ham and Tottenham or Tottenham and Stoke. Figure something out nearer the time. If you've enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.